Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to RealTech Season 3, Episode number 3, in which we are going to get started with Create, and we are going to set up automation for ore tripling. So let's get started. We have a new quest in the quest system, ore tripling with IE/create. What we're going to do today, first, we're going to set up ore doubling with create. And that's something that you can do no matter what pack you're running. But then we're going to take it a step further, because in this pack, we have custom recipes set up that allow us to triple ores. And if we take a look at our quests here, this is going to show us exactly how. So last time we set up ore doubling with immersive engineering. Today we're going to set up ore doubling with create, and then we're going to combine that with the ore doubling from immersive engineering, and that is going to allow us to triple our ores. Actually, I think this one shows you the math behind this. So normally with create alone, we can get up to 2.22x per ore block. And of course, we already know that with immersive engineering in the last episode, we were able to ore double with the crusher plus get a few extra bonuses. Now we can combine those two processes together in this pack. That will allow us to get this 3.0144 ingots per ore block. But first, let's do all the stuff that we need to do in order to get started with create. So the first thing that the quest is telling us to do is it all starts with andesite and a few nuggets. So we need to make a bunch of this andesite alloy. We have quark in the pack, which means that andesite can only be found in certain biomes. One of those biomes is forest. I haven't actually come across a lot of it yet. Fortunately, in this pack, we can make it with either gravel and stone that's added by this pack, or the vanilla recipe of diorite and cobblestone. Now, we don't have any diorite, I don't think, so we're going to go with the gravel and stone. So I'm going to go gather a bunch of that kind of stuff so we can get ourselves a lot of andesite. And then also notice that we can use either iron nuggets or zinc nuggets. Now, iron is something that is in high demand. Like, I need iron all the freaking time, and I'm always running out of it. I have I have a fair amount of zinc. I think I actually have more somewhere else, but I'm going to double this with our immersive engineering setup, and then I'm going to be using zinc, and I'm going to save the rest of the zinc for ore tripling. And of course, last time we did this, we set up automated ore doubling, where all I have to do is put my ores in that chest, and it'll automatically crush it, double it, and then put it in these furnaces, which are powered by external heaters. And I don't have to do anything, but look at this. I already have some zinc. Dun, 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 dun. Quest complete. Alliterations aplenty. You are going to need a lot of this stuff, it says. Your next step will be setting up a source of rotational force. To complete this quest tree, choose a water wheel or a windmill. We are going to create a water wheel and possibly a windmill also, but first we're going to do a water wheel just because it's one of the simplest early game sources of stress units. That is the measurement used for rotational force. And then we're going to take that rotation caused by the water wheel, and we're going to use it to turn these crushing wheels. There's going to be a lot of steps in between that we're going to have to take before we even are able to get those crushing wheels. And one of the really nice things about Create is it is super well documented. When we hover over our water wheel, we can see it says hold W to ponder. So if we hold, except we have to click over here so that we're not in that field. But if we hold down the W key, it will show us a little demonstration of how it works, along with a bunch of nice little text cues kind of explaining the way things work. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to set up a water wheel. We're going to pour water over it, and we're going to make sure that the blades are oriented in such a way that they're going against the water, because you can see when you turn it around, it doesn't work as efficiently. We're going to set up 3 of these guys, and we're going to put them right next to the existing water wheel. We are going to need to make a couple of cogwheels, and that's one of the first things we're going to need andesite alloy for. Another thing we are going to need a lot of are buttons. We are going to need a lot of buttons. This is the button mod. Let's do, I don't know, we're probably going to use a lot of these in the future, but for now I'm just going to make 2. These cogwheels have uses in-world as well. So I'd like to start out with 3 water wheels. Oh, that is only 2. Water wheel, quest complete, yay! Some of the create stuff doesn't have that W ponder thing, but most of it will at least have a thing where you hold shift and it'll give you information in the tooltip. the next thing we're probably going to want to make are shafts and gearboxes. All right, now we've got a nice little place to put our water wheels here. I've got 3 water sources up here. They're being blocked currently by dirt just to make it easier for us to work with this at the moment. So we can just right click with these and they place. Now we want the water flowing this way, and as you can see right now, those are angled that way. We want them to be angled against the water. So I'm going to remove this one. And I'm going to place it there. And now when I remove those water sources, those should start turning. Hooray! Now we can also add another water source, or we could have set this up so that the water flows out and then back under. That would make them flow a little bit faster. Just for aesthetics, I wanted to set it up like this so that it looks like the water is flowing out. But I am going to put 3 water sources there. Now, if you remember, I set it up under there. You can see it's already starting to spin a little bit faster. I set it up under there so that the block goes down from there, which is going to cause the water to flow backwards. We can take our shafts and hook it up to that, and you will see that the shaft is going to turn with the water wheel. And then we can use that. We can keep stringing these along to turn something else. And we just take this andesite casing and we right click. Look at that. Haha, that's nice. I like that. We got our shafts, our gearboxes. Now we're going to need the mechanical press. So we can take this mechanical press and we can hook it up to the rotational energy. And then if we throw something down underneath it, like this gold ingot, and then give it a redstone. Oh, actually, we don't even have to give it redstone anymore. Okay. It sees there's something down there, and it goes down and it crushes it. And we now have a gold sheet. Now, I'm not going to leave that there. I'm ultimately going to put it in the factory. But I just wanted to do that real quickly because I want to make myself a pair of engineer's goggles. That's actually an optional quest, but it's helpful in order to get more information about what we are looking at. And I believe engineer's goggles and stresso-vision. So I believe we need to put this up here. When we look at this water wheel, it's telling us that it is producing 256 stress units at its current speed. And actually, if we put this back, we will see that it is using 128 stress units at its current speed. So I want to get this rotational energy into that factory. So I'm going to be using a lot of shafts, a lot more than I have, and a lot of gearboxes. So the gearboxes, when you hook up a gearbox, it's going to allow you to move in a different horizontal direction. And you can see it also reverses the rotation. We want to go vertical here, of course, because we want to go down. So then you can just put the gearbox in your crafting grid, and it'll change it to a vertical gearbox, and you can go back and forth with that. And that's what I want to do. I'm going to jump down in that hole and do that. And then I'll probably, I don't know, maybe cover up that gearbox, or maybe... Okay, then we're another vertical, and now we can go this way. So I'm just going to keep doing this until we get... Oh, and you can actually do that as well. You can just click on the shaft, and it'll extend the shaft to the end. I'm looking for kelp. I'm not going to find it here, but I'm hoping that this will lead me to a place where I will. Oh, eagle. Clean up those fish. It just it like magnetically grabs the fish. Whee! Hope to find something that's not frozen. Yay, kelp. We are going to need this stuff for belts. Ooh, look what I found. Oh, well. Ooh, there we go. That's a little nicer. That is a Tasmanian devil, I believe. Yeah. Those guys, they can be pretty nasty. I'm going to probably keep my distance. They're cute, though. Look at this beautiful valley. This is nice. I like this. It's a little seasonal orchard surrounded by mountains and highlands. And then the ocean is just over there. Wow, this is beautiful. I might have to do something here at some point in the series. So 6 dried kelp gets us this mechanical belt. Kelp belt. And we can actually use this to... Actually, let's just do a little demo here. I don't know what the range is, so let's just kind of see how far we can stretch this thing. So right-click on one side, or on one shaft. And okay, so that's... Oh no, that works. Look at that. Holy crap. Kelp drive, hooray! So if this thing was rotating, this whole belt would be rotating. We are going to be using this for a lot of our automation as a conveyor belt, but it's also useful because if this one is rotating, it's also going to cause that one to rotate, which is going to allow us to transfer or extend or transfer, however you want to look at it, our rotational force from one place to another without having to use quite as many shafts. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm underground here. My water wheel is over there. My factory is over there. And I am going to go like that. And that will allow me to bring my rotational force into the factory. So what I'm going to do is pillar up here. Okay, like that. And then we're going to break that. And then I can put a gear there, a gearbox, a vertical one. And look at that. Now we can start bringing this rotational energy into our factory. And here it is. That water wheel over there is causing this to rotate way over here. And of course, I'm going to do that so we don't have a hole in the floor. This is probably the hardest part, or at least the most... Okay, I need to get out of here. That villager is driving me crazy. Or possibly the most grindy part. And that is that we need 21 mechanical crafters because this is the crafting recipe for the crushing wheels. We're going to have to do 7 sets of the mechanical crafters, which means we need to make 7 electron tubes, which means that we need to polish 7 rose quartz. We need to make the rose quartz, which is quartz and redstone, I believe. And then in our hand, we rub it with sandpaper. Oh, wow. Okay, a lot of redstone. Okay. So we'll have to do 2 sets of these. So we're going to be alloying brass. Now, there's 2 different ways that we can make brass in this pack. Create gives us a way. And that is to mix 1 copper with 1 zinc. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to get ourselves this mechanical mixer, a basin, and a blaze burner. We're not really quite ready for that. There's an easier way. With immersive engineering, we can alloy 3 copper and 1 ingot or 1 zinc to make 4 brass. And we could also use tinkers to do this same recipe. So I'm going to set up a vertical gearbox here. That is going to reverse the direction, but that's fine because we don't have anything going on up there yet. And I'm going to place this mechanical press here. Oh, actually not there. Not there. I'm going to place a clutch there. A clutch basically allows us to turn on and off the rotation with redstone. So we turn that on and the clutch turns off. And the reason I'm doing that is because if we put our goggles on, we will see that this guy is taking up 128 stress units. And when we're not using it, then we can turn that off and then it'll take 0 stress units. So right now, I want to take 4 of these brass ingots. Actual alloys, yay. Put them under there, and then we can hit that, turn the clutch on, and then it'll go down and smash them. Bing! And by the way, if you don't like throwing items in the world, or if you have like a magnet, or you're setting up automation and you don't want these things to get accidentally picked up, there is a block called a depot, which basically allows you to put... It'll just pick up whatever items it throws on it, and it's actually kind of like it has an inventory. You're not going to accidentally pick up items from it, but it'll still be able to interact with things like the mechanical press and a lot of the other stuff that we'll be doing today. We will be using a depot in our automation today in order to make these rose quartz. And then what we do is we hold sandpaper in our offhand, and then we right-click. And we're not really eating it. We're just sanding it off. We're polishing it up real nice. And then the sandpaper is just paper and sand. So that's easy enough. And as you can see, it does have durability. 7 electron tubes. And then I already made the brass casings. So we need more cogwheels. We need 14 of these cogwheels. Okay, there we go. 7 of everything. 21 mechanical crafters. Actually, that wasn't so bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. By the way, if you don't want to make the mechanical press and you already have an engineer's hammer from Immersive Engineering, you can use the plates in their place. I am going to make a wrench. The create wrench, configure conveniently, because those will be helpful in setting up the mechanical crafters. So I'm going to set them up. I'm going to set this up temporarily. We need 5 high, 5 wide, and then the corners are not. Okay, so we can't even set these up in this factory, we can do it upstairs. This little arrow shows you that whatever you place in this slot is going to move in that direction. And what we want to happen is we want everything to move to a single location. We're going to do that. Okay, we're going to turn the wrench so that it goes that way. And then everything is going to have to go that way. So we're going to click against that. And then down. Yeah. And then we just need to hook up some rotational force to this. All right, let's see. If I put that there, and then a gearbox there, and then another gearbox, except a vertical gearbox there. Yes, there we go. And then I should be able to do that, and yay, I'm overstressed. Okay, so this requires 32 stress units per thing. We have 21 of those, so what is that? 600 and some stress units, something like that. So we're not producing enough stress units with our 3 little water wheels out there. Oh, wait a minute. I left this on. So I just turned that off, and now we're turning again. All right, here we go. Big time crafting. You can input into these with input means. We're not doing that for this. We're just manually setting up this crafting recipe. But you could theoretically set up an auto crafting system with this. So then we need 4 wood planks. And then as soon as I put a stone in the center, we should see it start crafting. Ta-da! Yay! So the background color changed. And there they go. Going in the direction that I told them to go. And the main thing is you just have to make sure that they all converge at one point. Which they are. And you can put a chest or a hopper or whatever there, or something for it to input into. Otherwise, it's just going to throw it in the world. Bing! Yay! A pair of giants and 2x crushing wheel quest. So I configured the gearboxes. This is where our source is coming in, such that this is turning counterclockwise and this is turning clockwise, just so that the two are turning toward each other like that. So that when stuff gets dropped in there, it gets crushed. Okay, we can ascend our lovely dirt stairs and grab some copper ore, I guess, and throw it in there. You see the particles, little copper bits, and there we have it. Ta-da! Crushed copper ore. Now, we only got 1 that time, but we do have a 30% chance of getting 2 extras, which basically means that we're getting 1.6%. On average, we're getting 1.6%. 1.6x of ore. So, like, if I put a stack in there, I'm going to get about, like, a little more than a stack and a half. We could put this in a furnace, and we can get an ingot out of it. But we could also do a couple other things with it in order to extend the number of ingots that we get from it. Now, of course, we're going to automate this so that we don't have to throw that stuff in there manually. And there's a couple tools that we can use to do that so that we're not just throwing items in the world. And we'll take a look at those in a bit. But first, let's take a look at step 2 of just the create specific process of ore doubling. And that involves an encased fan. It's not too expensive, although there's a bit of iron in the propeller here. And a bucket of water. All right, so I'm going to set up a gearbox here. Again, this is a temporary setup because I'm going to be automating this whole thing, but right now, just to get this thing to work. Okay, so here's the fan. You hook it up to your network, and right now it is rotating in such a direction as to pull stuff. We don't really want that, but actually maybe we can make that work. Because if we do that and we put our water here, then what we can do is we can throw our crushed copper ore right there, and it's going to get washed. Yay! And then what we end up with are nuggets. And in this case, we got 12 copper nuggets. Hooray! Again, this is variable. If we look at the uses of crushed copper ore, we will see that we can do bulk washing, and we're guaranteed 10 copper nuggets, so we're guaranteed a little bit of a gain because, you know, this would normally be 9, plus a 50% chance of 5 more. Given the increase that we get from the crusher and the increase we get from this, comes to about 2.66. So that is the whole create process. In this particular pack, we can take it one step further, and that is by using the crusher. And what we're going to do is, again, we're going to throw an ore in there. This time I'm going to do iron just because that's what the quest wants us to do. So we throw our iron ore in there, and of course we can put more than one at a time. It'll just take longer if you put more in there. And yay, crushed iron ore. So we completed our quest. We can then take that crushed iron ore and we can put it in the crusher. Now this time we got 2. So actually I'm just going to put them in this chest because that will make it go into the crusher. From immersive engineering. And then we ended up getting 3 iron grit out of it. So what happens is 1 crushed iron ore. Now this is specific to RealTech. We're going to get a guaranteed iron grit and then a 57% chance of a second one. And then also the normal bonus that we would normally get from the crusher. So in this case for iron, we have a 10% chance of getting nickel. And actually that chance, we do end up ultimately getting more nickel out of it because we're getting more crushed ore out of this than we would from a single thing. So, and then this is also a custom recipe in this pack. We can take our 3 iron grit and we can throw them in there. We've already tripled. Now, of course, this isn't always going to happen. These are all based on chances. Like sometimes you'll get more, sometimes you'll get less, but on average, it'll get tripled. And now we got 30 nuggets out of it. 1 ore block, 1.6 crushed ore, times 1.57 grit, times 1.2 washing equals 3.0114 ingots. Doing this again so I get the quests. Just a little tip, don't jump in there. You may already know that if you fall into the crusher, it hurts, right? If you fall into this thing, you're stuck. Like, I mean, come on, there's 2 grinding wheels that are going into each other. You're not going to jump out of that. You're just going to die. It's going to grind you up and you're going to die. So yeah, be careful about that. So I ended up completing the quest tree from last time, just so that I could do this. All right, quest completed. So now the encased fan. I'm going to have to break the encased fan so that I can get that. Yay! Woohoo! Nice. Oh, that's so satisfying. So the quest is completed. Now there is a couple optional steps that we can do. We can create a windmill. We can also do automation. And that is what we are going to do next. So the first thing I want to do, is I want to go up here and I want to install, a chute. So a chute, tumbling down. Chute is basically like an inventory, kind of like a hopper that will insert into things. So rather than the items just kind of sitting out in the world waiting to go into the crushing wheel, they'll go into this chute. And that will work really nicely with the conveyor belts because the conveyor belts will know when the chute is ready. Conveyor belts can go at a 45-degree angle, or of course they can be flat. So we're going to go over, down, or over one, down one, over one, down one, over one, down one. So then we can connect down here. I'm going to get rid of those extra shafts in a bit, but so we can go from there down to there. So now we have a conveyor belt there that should insert into the chute. Put a shaft here, and then I'm going to use a belt to do that. And there we go. So, whoops. So now the conveyor belt is heading up there. And it'll throw us in there if we're not careful. So you can hold shift to get it to stop doing that. But now if we throw something on that conveyor belt, one of the things that's nice about these conveyor belts is if it picks up an item. So let's say this one picks up that ore. The item can't be picked up by you. So you're not going to accidentally pick up stuff on the conveyor belt until it reaches the end of the conveyor belt and has nowhere to put it. Then it's just going to throw it off into the world. So you don't have to worry about accidentally picking up conveyor belts. The other thing that's really nice about them is that if they're going into a inventory or some sort of an input like this, if it can't put it in there, then it's going to stop. Like all the items on the conveyor belt are going to stop. So this is going to be our drop-off chest right there. I guess I'll put a plank down there so it looks nice, maybe. And then we're going to extract from that chest using a funnel. Now there's two different types of funnels. There's a brass funnel and there's an andesite funnel. The brass funnel allows us to filter. I don't want to filter on that one, so let's just use a brass funnel. Or let's use an andesite funnel, and I'll save my brass funnels for when I need filters, because they are more expensive. We put an andesite funnel in here. It should pull everything out of this chest and put it on that conveyor belt. So everything we put in this chest is stuff that we want crushed. So, oh, whoops. So for instance, if we put an iron ore in there, it should get pulled out and thrown into that chute if I did everything right up there. And then it gets grinded up and it comes out. Ta-da! Now, as you can see, we do get cobblestone sometimes. So before we take this output and put it in the crusher, we're going to have to filter it to make sure that we're not putting cobblestone in the crusher. I've got the first two steps done. So we are now putting ores in here. They go up the conveyor belt, up the kelp belt, into the chute, and they get grinded up. And then they end up going up this conveyor belt, an immersive engineering conveyor belt, into the crusher. And then they come out into this hopper, and then they end up on this depot. That's as far as I've gotten. Now I got to figure out. So I'm using the immersive engineering ones here because I don't really care how many it dumps into the crusher. It doesn't matter all that much because the crusher can accept as many as you throw in there. It has a very, very large, like practically infinite inventory. So we don't have to worry about items getting lost there. But then they're going to come out. They're going to go into this hopper, which is going to insert into this depot. Now the depot, we can have the fan blowing into the depot. And if we have a water block right here, that will take care of that. I just need to figure out how I'm going to power the fan. I'm probably going to belt it from this to there. But then we also need to be able to pull out of the depot with a filter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this shaft come all the way over here. We're going to have a short conveyor belt there. Oh, but it's turning the wrong way. So we're going to need a gearbox. But then I'm also going to have another one here. Let's see which way that turns. So I'm going to need actually one more kelp belt. Okay, so that's working. So we can put, I'm going to have to put like a slab or something here. And then we'll put water there. Shoot. And that is a slab, so it's going to waterlog the slab. How do I avoid that? I can do it against that. Okay, there we go. So now that should wash that. And then that's eventually going to turn into nuggets. So then we're going to pull those nuggets out, except we need this conveyor belt to go the other way. So I'm going to grab a gearbox. And we'll just put the gearbox here, I guess. Oh no. Oh no, give me. How do I get that? Okay, there we go. And that is a bit of a problem. I need to cover those belts so that that doesn't happen. So if we put a gearbox here, then it's going to turn this way. So then we can put our last mechanical belt there. And then we can put our funnel. We can put our brass funnel here. Nope, that isn't going to work. That needs to be up one. Unfortunately, I don't even have enough redstone to set up a drawer network right now. So this is it. This is the whole thing. Everything is fully automated. I am aware that it isn't particularly pretty. It's kind of a mess. I'm going to consider ways of making it look a little bit nicer. Okay, let's just throw everything we have in here. There is one ore in the pack that does not work with this system, and that is cobalt from Tinkers. So you can see that stuff just sits there and it waits. Because like a whole stack went in there, so it's going to take a little longer to grind it up. But these guys are going to wait. So cobalt ore does not have a crushed ore. Actually, it doesn't work with either of these systems yet, with either of these mods. So once some support is added there, or if the support is added, then I'll be adding the ore tripling support. And I might even just do it custom if it doesn't get added soon enough. Okay, I cleaned up my mess a little bit. That whole washing thing, I moved it over here. And I've got, as you can see, there's conveyor belts back there. I like totally had to spam those gears. But okay, let me just throw some ores in here. We'll just start with like 16. So this is still the same. I turned the chest so that it's facing this way. And that's going to go into the grinder. It's going to come out here. We've got a filter here that's putting cobblestone in this chest. So if we get any cobblestone, it's going to go in that chest. Obviously, that's not going to be a permanent solution. I'm going to have that route somewhere so that if that chest fills up, it doesn't cause things to back up. Because if it does fill up, it's going to end up putting cobblestone in here, which is going to turn into gravel. And then it's going to come out and it's going to get stuck there and back everything up. I've got a belt in the back there. I can't even get there to show you, can I? Oh, sure. Here we go. Okay. So I've got a belt in the back here just to kind of transfer the rotational energy over here. And then we're using that. I've got a stack of vertical gearboxes here to mostly, well, to bring it down and also to reverse the rotation because we needed it reversed. Okay, so now we've got that stuff going in the grinder. So this is just the immersive engineering conveyor belt because we can drop as much as we want in the crusher. And that's coming out into this omnidirectional hopper, which is just sending it into this chest. And then we've got conveyor belts going, actually, let's just take a peek. We have create conveyor belts. I've got an andesite funnel here. And the andesite funnel is just going to pull everything out of that chest because the only thing that's going to end up in that chest, oops, are grit. So we don't have to worry about the wrong thing ending up here. It's going to pull that out. It's going to go along this conveyor belt. I had to kind of expand on my space here. And there's, again, all kinds of different gears to change directions and all that. But there's two conveyor belts that are going into that depot down there. This stuff is going into the fan. So we've got the fan up here. It is pointing downward into this water block, and then I've got these slabs here in order to prevent the water from moving. I might use chisels and bits to just kind of like maybe put a glass encasing around that just to make it look a little nicer. And then here we've got our filtered brass funnel that is only pulling out the nuggets. So it's not going to pull this out until it becomes a nugget. And then it goes into this chute, which goes into this omnidirectional hopper, and then into this chest. And then actually what I'm going to do is kind of a final little piece right here is I'm going to put a crafting station here. This is from the crafting station mod. And that's just going to allow us to very quickly do that. So it's going to be a manual process for now until I can afford to set up a storage drawer network in here with a bunch of compacting drawers. Next time we'll be taking to the skies. We're going to be flying around. We're going to be able to explore in an airplane. Of course, there's no like creative flight in this pack because, you know, that's not really very fun, is it? And also before I go, I wanted to kind of update you on where I'm at with my nutrients because while things have been going on, I have been, of course, playing the nutritional balance mod because it is in the pack and I have to. I'm actually really close to the targets. So once I get everything within target, then I get some nice buffs. And I just need a little bit more veggies, a little bit more carbs, and I'm set for protein, a little bit more fruit. I usually try to eat before my food pops are down very low so that I can kind of overeat, which allows you to get more nutrients. And then we've also got this fruit salad. What do I need more right now? Fruits or vegetables? Looks like fruit. So I'm going to make a fruit salad. Wow, that stayed in the grid. That is interesting. And now I am good for fruit. So all I have to do is get my carbs and veggies up. Although those will drop a little bit while I'm doing other stuff. But if you do have any questions, it's a dark night. It's a dark night. Let's go look out over the wintry forest. It's early spring, so at some point our snow is going to start melting. I don't think it melts here in the taiga until late spring. Then we'll be into summer again. Oh, and there's my goggles on my head. Here, let me step into the light so you can see my goggles. So if you do have any questions about what we did today or any comments or ideas or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And of course, if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button below and join me next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.